Billy, number 6, how to solve a long conflict or an intractable conflict. So I'm assuming you're talking about an interpersonal conflict and not a widespread international political conflict, because even I don't have the answers to that one. And so I want to start out with a synonym. Conflict is like a fire. It can be good or bad. It can either burn the place down, or it can help you cook the s'mores and hot dogs and hamburgers and the other tasty treats you're looking to eat for dinner. And so our goal is to make conflict constructive and not destructive. However, destructive conflicts are all around us, unfortunately. And so if the conflict is left unattended, and this is why this is such a great question, if it's unattended for a long period of time, just like a fire, it will burn up and get out of control and start burning other things down and other relationships, and it needs to be attended to. But something that I like to always keep in my mind is that conflict is inevitable, whether constructive or destructive. It's inevitable, and it's always around us. And so these conflict resolution skills are essential. They're just life skills, really. And so to begin the analysis, we start with the goals. What are people after in the conflict? What are the goals? And they should be conflicting goals. They should be incompatible, and that's why the conflict is present. It's going on. And the next thing is resources. What are the resources? These resources should be fought after. They can be either influence in a situation, or they can be tangible things like possessions and other things like that. And then it's important to look at power. Who has high power in the conflict? Who has low power? And if you can size this up and figure out where they are, the different parties, and it doesn't have to be just two, it can be more than two, there you can intervene in the conflict. You can find that sweet spot and intervene more effectively, addressing the power dynamics. And so next, my most important to me is your identity. You have to ask yourself, who am I? What am I contributing to the situation? Who am I in this conflict? Because you are somebody in the conflict, unless you're a third party to the conflict. What have I contributed? You should find this peace within yourself and say, I am contributing somehow. I'm not perfect, I'm vulnerable, and that I am contributing somehow. And sometimes we do contribute subconsciously to conflicts that we are a part of. And so we can't fear being wrong. We can't fear this I have nothing to do with this at all. And a quote from somebody that I like, Leo Tolstoy, who you might read in the future. He said, if you see that some aspect of your society is bad and you want to improve it, there is only one way to do so. You have to improve people. And in order to improve people, you must begin with only one thing. You have to better yourself. So it's very important to empathize and look inwards and realize that you are just as important. You have to understand what you are doing to contribute to this conflict and how you feel about it, because those can be the filters that the resolution has to get through in order to be effective. So don't be afraid to say sorry when the resolution actually comes. And so that leads me into the process. How do we actually resolve this? And so it may be hard, but you'll want to get all the parties to sit down and talk. This is the way I think is most effective for interpersonal conflicts, which I'm assuming yours is again. So get everybody to sit down and talk. This talk should be constructive. You want to get everything out on the table. But there's 3 things you want to keep in mind that I always keep in mind when I do something like this. And I've done one very recently, and these 3 things were really crucial. You have to keep the other party's interests on the same level as yours. They have to be just as important to you as your interests are to you. And that'll help a lot, keeping the resolution level. And you also, number 2, is have to listen. You have to be present in the conversation that's going on. Don't just be there. Actively listen. One of my professors defines, hearing and listening within conflict resolution is as to skillfully listen to everything that may help you enter the world of those around you, especially those who you are in conflict with. You want to enter their world. You want to empathize with them. You want to see what their side of the story is, and you want to acknowledge it. And 3, if it gets too heated, take a step back, breathe, take a couple breaths, more breaths, and then go get a drink of water, or figure out some way to successfully do this. Bring food and take a break, take a snack break. Eat those hamburgers that you made earlier. And so once you have all this in your mind, the resolution is going to be a lot easier and a lot more effective. And it may take a couple tries for this to be effective. So try that. And that's it, really. If it's an interpersonal conflict, a small conflict, that's the way you want to resolve it, and keep the goals, power, resources, and identity in mind, because those are all really crucial elements. And so my question to you is, like I said earlier, you have to ask, who am I? Which may be kind of hard. But do you believe there are enough opportunities in school, whether it be elementary, middle school, there are enough opportunities for you to ask this to yourself? Are you prompted to ask this about yourself? Are there any exercises that prompt you to ask this? Have you done this before in school? That's what I would like to know, because I was in middle school once. So thank you. Good luck.